I mean, personally, you know, I wonder if memorials or, you know, I mean, I'm a fan of the idea of reparations and stuff, but reparations is a theory that I need to look into some more. But the point that I want to make was actually we talk about the abolition of the slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade, but it's quite a hung concept to me because of the indentured labour and carry on the way that it carried on. Because and I'm not taking away from the African slave trade from what was taken from Africa, but for me personally, I think it's quite ridiculous that we state, oh, the transatlantic slave trade was abolished when actually the effects of colonialism carried on for many decades after that, and we're still seeing the effects today. I think that slavery hasn't ended; it's just changed to a different form of indentured labour, and our products and the textiles we wear today are produced from efforts of slave labour in other countries.
Yes, you can say that too, but at the same time, remember, there was no whip on them to do it.
I recognise that. I mean, and I'm not taking away from that. What I'm saying is, it has not stopped. That's my point.
It has not stopped, but they get paid. Mm-hmm. If you or any one of these children ever pick cotton, you ever know? Wait a minute. Do you know that the people who pick the cotton, that Manchester can be so rich, bled because the cotton had burr on it, that when you had to pick it out, it cut your hands.
I understand
that's why the Europeans wouldn't do it.
I think the young people of today are still, as you said,
still bleeding now.
I think the young people of today are still living with that legacy, and are still, and whereas the suffering has stopped on a certain extent, as I say, it's changed form, and I think our young people are the people that have actually felt the repercussions over the ages, and we're still feeling the repercussions now.
Can we hear from our young people?
Yes.
What Frisco was talking about colonisation, you know, whereas the transatlantic slave trade that time of the years ago, for example, Angola is a country that was colonised up until 30 years ago. If you was to go into that country now, you can go into some places, some districts, and you'll still see it going on. So going back to what you said, even though it stopped, it's something. It's not necessarily stopped. It's just changed name. It's changed form. Because basically, there's so many ways you can take away somebody's liberty, and that still carries on now. So I think that's something that's very
actually, the chocolate plantations of the Ivory Coast. I mean, there are still places today where actually, you know, children are sold into slavery. They're not paid wages. So there are still places where slavery continues.
And also, our young people are given aspirations to actually go for the material wealth that is a direct result of the slave trade, such as diamonds, corporations, corporate wear. Everything in our society comes from the innocent back of someone being broken. And that was my point. I really didn't want to take away from this and what this is, because what we are recognising here is the suffering of Africans and the African transatlantic slave trade. But I still think that we should remember what the legacy of that is. And
I think it's very, very clear that the ideology, the concept of race and therefore racism, I felt, as I understand it, was created to build foundations to justify the whole slave trade and slavery, and that continues today. And I think wherever you go throughout the world, in whatever country you land, the white people will be the elite, will be the ones in power, will be the rich. And the darker you get, the poorer you get, the more discriminated you are. And I find that amazing, that throughout the world, this is true. And it is true. because of the ideology of race and of the whole thing that happened with it.
And that definitely came out of slavery, and it was definitely something that was impressed upon you in the banks in Jamaica.
And not just that, anyone went to jail as well.
Yeah.
Because like all the people like, you're from Britain, but why are you black? They didn't like understand that I was born here, and why is your hair like this? And you're black, but you're from Britain. I'm like, yeah. And then Britain, like, are you from Africa? And they're like trying to speak Swahili to me. And I'm like, no, I'm from Britain. I'm born here. I speak English. Like, well, why are you black? And then they're like, are you from a dark caste? Because I was sunbathing, and like the Indian lady came up to me and went, come under the shade, come under the shade, come under the shade. So she's like coming over and I talked to her and sat under the shade with her. She's like, why are you trying to get your skin darker? You're already dark as it is. And there's another guy who was like, really, I've never seen a black guy so dark, but he's Indian. And he's like really dark. He's like still trying to say that he was lighter than me because he was Indian and I'm black. And I'm like, your skin is darker than mine. I've been on holiday for like 2 weeks. So it was really an amazing experience. And when I was in Jamaica as well, all like the cashiers were like light skinned or mixed race, like red skinned people say. And then all the cleaners was just really just black people, so there's still that caste system. So the lighter skin you are, the better opportunities you have in life. And you still see that in school, in
Stereotype.
all the time.
Believe is stereotype.
Yeah.
They've got to do it. People who got money want to stay on top.
Yeah.
And the only way they can stay on top by keeping people down. If you reach their status, then they'll let you join with them. But as long as you don't reach the top of the ladder with them, they try to keep you down. And it's stereotype. It's societies today.
I think that also the effects of young black male and females being kept separated, and young black people not having father figures to look at is also a repercussion that is with us very realistically in this city around the corner. We have many young black people that, as a direct result of slavery and the conditions that people were kept in slavery, have been left a fatherless nation. And I think this is where our reparations need to come in.
Before we go into another debate, actually, about this, and maybe we can tackle some of these things this afternoon, we are actually going to go now into the exhibition, because we're kind of on a tight time scale, and we're going to have a look at the exhibition and the artifacts that have actually been put out, and for you to comment on